And welcome to Converge. I'm your host, Kathryn Mademann, and we're on location at the Don Ryan Center here in Bluffton. We have JOToole, who's the Executive Director of the BC EDC. As always, it's lovely to see you.
Good to be with you, Kathryn.
You know, there's a lot of hot topics going on around us, and I first want to start off the show talking about those current events issues, and also we are going to be sitting down with Council Mike Moore and talking about the relationship between economic development and also the Beaufort County. So we do have a lot of good conversations ahead of us. So let's start first at hand. You were recently in Europe because from our previous shows, we talk about visiting our international interests of people coming to Beaufort. And so you bridge these conversations. So give us some insight about that trip and what's going on.
Well, it's interesting, Kathryn. I traveled to Montreal with SC Competes, one of our partners, to go to an aerospace show. Then after that, we went with the South Carolina Power Team and the South Carolina Department of Ag on a business mission, we call it, but business development for South Carolina, and specifically Beaufort, to the Netherlands and to Belgium, and then to a food show in London. Interestingly enough, in Canada, there were really hurt feelings with the rhetoric out of Washington.
Oh, yes.
In Europe, there was just a feeling of instability. I think the United States has always been, as Ronald Reagan says, the shining light on the top of the hill, a place of stability. And with these on-again, off-again tariffs, probably the kindest thing that was said to us in a meeting in Belgium was, I don't care what your president decides to do as it relates to tariffs. I believe our trip is not going to be as fruitful for getting foreign direct investment in the U.S., South Carolina, and Beaufort County right now because people are waiting to see where things settle. But what was good about it is that you go, you listen, you understand, you develop relationships, because one of my mentors used to say, people do business with people they like doing business with. So when we were in the Netherlands, we visited with basically a packaging company, a juice and fruit juice packaging company south of Amsterdam. And they were a little disappointed with U.S. politics. I mean, that's not political, but that's generally how they reacted. But they still see the possibilities of the U.S. market, and that's our second visit with that company. So we're developing a relationship, and it'll come down to relationships. But I do hope we achieve some stability, because that's the main thing that people were making it hard to plan on.
Exactly. I mean, John, it's really important. You are over there talking to businesses who are interested in coming over here, and it's a real conversation. You're breaking bread.
Yes.
I think that's an expression. And you're getting some intel, like, you know, people, it's not what it was even a year ago with people's attraction to come here. It's a real thing, and it's a real value that us as the U.S. has to realize in our potential growth as a country.
Yeah, I always thought that people would see America, the U.S. dollar, as like the epitome of stability and a blue chip investment. And right now, they still see the spending power of the U.S. as a great market opportunity, but with the tax policy. In fact, though, we did meet with companies that are thinking that with the tariffs and so on, we were at a meeting with the Southern Carolina Alliance earlier this week, where they were talking about one of the companies they're working with has a product line that's made overseas, that they might actually move that here. So some of the noise has people thinking we have to have an operation here, a footprint in the U.S. so that we can maybe avert the tariffs. And so that's where, even you're going to have the tariffs, you're not going to have the tariffs. It would just be helpful to settle on what you're going to do so that people could make business decisions.
And then the only last thing is how much it's going to cost the consumer. I think that's the end product, and I think that's what we're, as Americans, as we live here, I think that's a real concern. You know, something that costs $5 is now going to be $10, however it goes. But
Yeah.
those are things that will work itself out. But, thank you for that insight. So today we are going to be sitting down with Council Administrator Mike Moore and talk a little bit about the Beaufort County. So let's start with Converge, all right?
Okay.
And we'll be right back with more.